Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you for spending your lunch hour here with us with the Biz-M-Power Matching Grant Program. This is the first of our webinar series on food, restaurant, and food and beverage. So I would like to introduce myself. So I am the Community Project Manager here at MGCC. I lead the Biz-M-Power grant program. And I have a background in small business and entrepreneurship. I started with MGCC with the COVID-19 grants as their coalition liaison that helped language and technical assistance in helping business owners get awarded. So I'm really excited to share about the Biz-M-Power grant program. I'm going to introduce you to Jonathan Berk, who's the Vice President of Patronicity, the crowdfunding platform.
Thanks, Theresa, and thanks everyone for being here today. Excited to be able to meet folks we don't know and hear from other folks that we've already had a chance to work with. So as Theresa mentioned, Jonathan Berk, Vice President of Patronicity. We're a civic crowdfunding community development platform that's been around for about 8 years now. Working across the Midwest and northeastern parts of the US. And I've had the chance to work with dozens of businesses and hundreds of community-driven projects across the country. And I'll be working with some folks as your coach. My colleagues will be working with other folks as they go through this program.
And I'd like to introduce Maurice from LaBrasa in Somerville.
Hey guys, how are you?
Maurice, did you want to share a little bit about LaBrasa?
Yeah, sorry. So LaBrasa is a concept from my partner, Daniel Bajorquez, who is a culinary genius who decided to come here. I think we're going into our 9th year now. LaBrasa is a little bit of mixture of where he's from in Mexico and his culinary background for working in French kitchens. So it's an amazing culinary, destination that I'm super happy to be a part of. And I came aboard LaBrasa probably, I think September, and it's just been go, go, go since I've been a part of LaBrasa. So yeah, that's a little bit about the place.
Thanks, Maurice.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to introduce another one of our speakers is Lucy from Sweet Lucy Bakeshop in Bernardston.
Hi guys, I'm Lucy. I'm the chef owner of Sweet Lucy's Bakeshop. It's in Western Massachusetts, so right the last town in Massachusetts before the Vermont border off of 91. October 9th is our 4-year birthday, so it's going on 4 years. And I actually grew up in Western Massachusetts and in Bernardston, which is 2,000 people in this town. And when I graduated high school, I ran away. I couldn't get anywhere close to this place. I went all the way over to Seattle and spent a lot of time out there. And then about 4 years ago, got the opportunity to move back and buy this building that was a bakery, and we opened our own place. And now we are expanding and adding a cooking school into the space. So it's been quite the adventure.
Thanks, Lucy. And I just have a shout out for Becky, who's a Biz-M-Power staff. She'll be also helping out in the chat as well. So I'm going to my screen, just bear with me. Everybody see? Okay. Okay, so the Biz-M-Power grant program, how can I elevate your small business? This series. So what is Biz-M-Power? So Biz-M-Power is a matching grant program with the objective of helping small business owners like yourself and entrepreneurs to build equity in their business by obtaining capital through earned support of local residents, neighborhoods, community members, and stakeholders alike by utilizing the power of the community-based crowdfunding platform. We have roughly about 6 to 5 million still available in matching grants. Preferences will be given to low to moderate income business owners with owned by minorities, women, immigrants, non-native English speakers, U.S. military veterans, disabled individuals, and members of the LGBTQ, and businesses that are operating gateway cities. So since Biz-M-Power is launched, we've helped over 70 business raise over $1 million in contributions. And they received over 850,000 in MGC matching grant funds. And I'm just gonna, I mean, if you guys can hear the volume. Spam. You guys hear?
We can't hear Theresa, but it's, I'll run through quick. So essentially the video is talking about and going over a little bit overview of how the program itself works and how the crowdfunding portion of the program itself works. Businesses that are pre-approved by MGCC, which you'll go through a process on your submittable form, submitting documentation that's required, showing some proof of funds for items that you're asking to purchase through this program. Once you're pre-approved through that portion of the process, you'll be paired up with a crowdfunding coach from our team who will work with you to help you build out your page, give you feedback on that, and also help you really set up and structure your rewards and recognition levels. Really getting creative and doing creative things that will tie your supporters back into the business. So we're talking to folks about how to even go about thinking about that part of the process, really looking at the rewards as a way to get creative, right? Get personal with your business, but also use as an opportunity to not just give somebody a thing for supporting your business financially, but also encourage them to come back in the door of your business, to come back in to visit, to be customers again, to really reconnect with existing customers and hopefully connect with new customers. And like I said, don't be afraid to apply for this program if you've never done a crowdfunding campaign before. I think about 95% of folks in this program have not run a crowdfunding campaign themselves before. And our coaches have worked with dozens, if not hundreds of groups at this point. And they'll be there every step of the way to help you, like I said, set up your page, set up your rewards, and really to sort of work with you throughout the duration of your campaign, as much as you're willing to work with them to help decide sort of how to restructure your outreach strategies. What are things you could be doing that you aren't doing? What are things working? What are things that are not working? And really sort of be your coach, right? Think of your sports coach, really sort of encouraging you throughout that step of the process. And we're here, we have your back, and we are that personal touch that I think will hopefully help kind of get folks who aren't comfortable with crowdfunding, hopefully more comfortable with crowdfunding here and then again in the future as well.
Thank you, Jonathan. So for the approved use of funds for the Biz-M-Power grant, you could use it for the capital expense. So you can use it for purchase of facility, expansion or improvement of existing facility for your restaurant. That could be new building signage, remodel, really help their build out. Lease a facility. A lot of businesses that are looking to expand their business. So you have a first location, you're doing second or third, you'd be applicable. You could only use it for your lease deposit fee, or if you're an early start business, have some pop-ups and you're looking for your first brick and mortar, you can take advantage of this program. Examples of purchase of equipment could be like commercial oven, refrigerator, HVAC system or a POS system in your restaurant. Other capital for your business. Example, for restaurant industry, like just say if you're looking to apply to a liquor license, that would be eligible, but not renewal of a liquor license. So non-approved use of funds are day-to-day operational costs. So can't be used for inventory and supplies, utility bills, employee payroll, employee benefits, current rent, current lease, any marketing costs. That also includes website. We do have an Empower Digital grant that can help. And then reimbursements. So who is eligible? Since you guys are all restaurants, you would have to employ less than 1 to 20 full-time employees. Your revenue doesn't exceed 2.5 million, and you have been in operation for at least 3 months. The full details of the requirements will be on the MGCC website. Eligible businesses can seek up to 20K in matching grant dollars with a successful campaign. All funds that are raised over 5,000, with the exception of all or nothing campaigns with purchase of facility or commercial vehicles, you can be matched if you raised over 5. Okay, what is the process? So the first step is to complete your application on the MGCC website. That's through submittables with all the requested documentation that is really important in making sure that you have quotes for your Biz-M-Power project table. Step 2 is you would get a condition. If you got conditionally approved by MGC, you'll be able to start that crowdfunding page based on that approved budget, and then you'd be assigned to your personal crowdfunding coach. As Jonathan spoke to a little bit earlier, you have step 3, you have anywhere from 30 to 60 days to run your campaign, and your campaign must be launched within 30 days of MGCC approval, and they will help prepare your crowdfunding page. And then step 4, the fun part, is if your campaign reaches its goal or raises over 5,000, you will receive a matching grant fund. Again, if you need any additional support, you can request an SBT provider. There's just a Google form link in the chat. Becky will drop just a flyer with all the same information on it, so you have that handy. Again, there may be a $250 fee with the SBTA. That is my contact information if you have any questions. And now we're going to move to the live Q&A portion of this grant. So
just one comment too. If folks have questions during the Q&A, we'll jump in with a few questions of our own, but if folks think of questions throughout the duration, just drop them in the chat on the right side and we'll get to those.
Yes, thanks. So we have, this is a link. Beck, if you want to drop the link of the Biz-M-Power. This is just a page to our live projects. I just want to show you really, really quickly. If you have any language selection capability, you can change it as well. Again, these are just examples of the many projects that we have been doing. Okay, so Maurice. Maurice,
Hi.
okay? Hi. Maurice, okay. So how much did you raise through your campaign?
I looked like I raised a little over $11,000 for it, and then it was matched. So we walked away with the I believe over $20,000, which went towards kitchen equipment that we needed. That just it went its length of time. So it was definitely much needed at the time.
Maurice, how did you find the process of the application in building your crowdfunding page to launching your successful campaign, and how your Patronicity coach helped you with the campaign?
So I mean, the first thing I would like to say is that Patron City was amazing. Just having Jonathan as a coach was really, it kind of made the process pretty easy and pretty seamless. For us, it was really just like, okay, what can we offer? What can we, use as tiers for people to actually, get? Like, we had t-shirts, we had hoodies, which were huge because that opened the door for us to even like offer merchandise to people, which we never even thought was a thing here. And of course we had, the dinner packages, dinners for 2, dinners for 4. But yeah, no, honestly, it's really just relying on your coach. And fortunately, I had Jonathan and he helped me out a ton with it. So it was pretty easy. I mean, we fortunately have a very strong social media here, which, Daniel did a great job building up. So I was able to rely a lot on social media to get my donations. I really didn't do too much other than like, constantly posting about it. And that was really our thing. If I could go back in time, and I would suggest this for anyone that's looking to do this, Jonathan actually provided us with, table tents and table tablets that you can have at the table where guests were dining with you. They can actually use a QR code to link you to actually doing donations. And that's something I wish that we did a little bit earlier on. We ended up being a success, but that's the one thing I would suggest that people take advantage of. Because like, the feeling of donating right then and there, people will actually do that if they have the ability.
And just to confirm, Maurice, I didn't pay you to say any of that, right?
No. Just speaking the truth.
Thank you. Yeah, and I remember we had a couple calls. I think towards the end of the campaign, we were a little shy of the goal, and I think we discussed sort of some strategic, like, are there really creative? I think you did a like a private dinner.
Yeah, the private. I completely forgot that we did that. Yeah, we did a private.
Yeah, but those are types of things that I think we always tell people this, but it's like we're here to help people as much as they're willing to work with us. And I think that sometimes is the shortfall, where people don't realize that we're always there every step of the way, and they don't take advantage of the opportunity to work with us.
Yeah.
But we kind of reassessed there and said, okay, what are some creative things we can do? The tents, I'm glad those worked out well. So I think it's all great points. What would you say is your one thing that you learned from the campaign about your customer base, or about?
Oh, wow. So, I mean, you hate to say it, but sometimes with crowdfunding, it does scare you a little bit, because you're like, okay, people like coming in, but do they actually are they going to donate money to my kitchen, whatever I need? Don't let that, scare you off. Like, people do love your places. They do love them. So don't let crowdfunding scare you at all. I mean, it was a conversation that me and Daniel had, my partner. We were just like, hey, do you think this is going to work? So surprised when the first $1,000 came in, and then still surprised when the first $5,000 came in. It was just like, wow, people are really donating, and it comes in such like small, increments. You're not going to get people donating $1,000 here and $1,000 there. It's really going to be the people donating $100, $50. It really does add up.
Thanks, Maurice. Yes, there has been a lot of, I think since the pandemic, just a lot of more of the consumers are more focused. We're more focused on shopping local. So yes, yeah, I definitely agree. So I'm just going to share screen really, really quick. And so I know Lucy had a little bit of a larger project. She went for the full 20. Can you guys see? Here's my, right? Yeah. For the full 20. Okay. Lucy, can you just share a little bit about what you were using the funds for?
Yeah, so we're going to be putting an addition on our existing bakery for cooking classes, and So yeah, with building equipment right now, it's about double the price when we originally were thinking about it. We actually raised something closer to 28,000, but because we live in a really small town, and people read like actual newspapers, our local newspaper did an article about us, and we got like a bunch of checks that got sent to us lingering after the campaign closed. So we didn't even enter those in. So it was pretty cool. Some high school or elementary school teachers, and it was pretty cool. It was really fun.
And it's a great point too. I mean, Lucy, you mentioned the size of your town. It's 2,000 people. I think a lot of times folks our community is too small. We can't do this. And I think you oftentimes may have a tighter knit community there that is more connected, and you actually end up getting a higher group. Not that Somerville isn't tight knit,
Right.
but I think it's a different type of campaign in Somerville that you're running than you are running in Bernardston. So definitely a great thing to point out for sure.
Yeah, and we had our business is a grab and go. There is no place to sit down. So we were able to, and we probably see 100 or so people a day. So we were, Kate was our coach, and she also made us a flyer that we were able to pass out to every customer that walked in the door. I had my counter person, every single person that came in, pimping us out, telling us about the story and the project. We had the URL code right on our register, so people were able to scan it. I will definitely say we've got a pretty strong social media presence as well. However, I definitely noticed multiple comments from people saying they never actually saw our posts. And so I think when you link Patronicity with Facebook, it gets hidden. Like Facebook wants you to boost their posts, not to like bash any social media. So we had less success on our social media, I think, than I would have loved. We have a lot of people out in Seattle, that I had connections with that could have donated to it because they just wanted to be good people. But I think it got lost in the world of social media. So definitely our in-person people were the biggest people, group of people that donated.
And it's an important point, Lucy, too. I mean, social media, having a robust social media following isn't necessary. I think it helps, but it's certainly not necessary. We've run campaigns, I'm thinking of a few just off the top of my head right now that we've worked with who didn't have any social media presence. It's a different outreach strategy. It's almost a good opportunity to use the campaign as a way to build your social media following too during the campaign as you do the outreach. But it's also really about tapping into your surrounding community, both folks who already know about you and folks who don't know about you, and asking those folks to be your megaphone as well. So for anybody who you're making an ask to, it's, can you support, if you can, or if you can't, whichever way you go, can you also just share? If you like our business, if you like what we do here, can you share this with your friends, your neighbors, this opportunity? And that tends to be a big boost to your campaign as well. Theresa, we have a couple questions in the chat. I think we may as well run through these really quick. You mentioned purchasing of vehicles. Is it something that can be eligible for the use of funds? It can be. Obviously, there's sort of specific criteria there. You'd also have to run an all or nothing campaign if you're purchasing a vehicle, because there's no. So one thing that may not have come up before is that if you set a goal of say 18,000 and you only raise 7,000, you can still be matched to that 7,000 if you don't make your full goal. If you can show what you're going to use that $14,000 for. So obviously a vehicle, it's tough to purchase a half of a vehicle.
Yeah.
So that's the type of campaign we don't allow partial funding for in this program.
Yes. So everything that Jonathan had said, in addition to commercial vehicles, we will request proof of commercial insurance. And just verification of I think, car insurance, commercial insurance, stuff like that, for proof of purchase for commercial vehicles. But yeah, we did have a few campaigns that we ran earlier that did hit their target goal, that used it like a commercial like cargo van, stuff like that, to transport goods. I can imagine for deliveries, restaurants, stuff like that. Jonathan, are there any other questions in the chat? Is there?
The follow-up to that question was, they'd like to know the time and expense that tends to go into creating and running a campaign. I'll take the time to set up, and then I'll let Maurice and Lucy chime in on how much time they put in during the campaign. Time to set up can be fairly quick, and we're here to work with you throughout that process of it's telling your story to your customer base. So the campaign page is really intended to be more conversational. It's an opportunity for you to say tell who you are, tell the story of your business, and tell what you're doing with those funds. I guess we can start with Lucy to chime in on sort of how much time she put in during the duration of the campaign.
Yeah, so I ran my campaign, I think, for 45 days. And so it was 45 days worth of hustle and bustle to get money. I think perhaps maybe next time, if I were ever to do it again, I probably would have done it faster, maybe 30 days, because it is a lot of mental stamina that you have to have asking people for money. And if you have any kind of anxiety, like many chefs, restaurateurs do, every time you see money come in, you get a really good high, and then you don't reach necessarily what you want that day. And you, at least my experience, and I kind of took a lot of mental energy trying to prepare myself for the long haul. But every day that I spent on it, it was, I don't know, like every time a customer walked in, we just took a couple opportunities to say something to them, but it didn't really take any time. We did a video just on our iPhone. One of my employees shot a video of me for 3 minutes, and she edited it that night, and it was pretty quick. We had to upload a couple pictures and write just a little story, which didn't take more than a day or two. An hour a day or something. But we're just right now just in the thick of giving out our rewards. And we went pretty hefty on some of them, like we're making chicken pot pies, and we've got about 100 of them that we have to make. So that's going to be taking us a couple, I'm probably gonna have to pay some employees a decent amount of money to get those done. But it employs people, and I factored the cost in with the reward, that it made sense for me to actually make money off of it, or, you know what I mean? Like, we're not losing a ton of money, but so the rewards, if you don't have a lot of time, I would recommend doing things that don't take a lot of employees to do.
And Maurice.
Yeah, so I think the biggest expense that we had was just the merchandise aspect of it. So we had never, done that here at LaBrasa. So we had to, I had to hire a graphic design person to design the logos, and I had to actually design the t-shirts. So, and then, that was a process, and that was money spent. And then, then I had to find a vendor to, get me the t-shirts in a certain amount of time. And then that was during a time when we were dealing with a lot of delays just with supply chain stuff, just getting t-shirts to people. So it was there was a good amount of money we spent on the shirts. I didn't think we were going to spend that much money on the shirts. I didn't think everyone was going to jump to the shirts, but yeah, they love the shirts. Food wise, not so much. We're a scratch kitchen here, so we just literally just blocked off a day, and we did all of the dinners in LaBrasa that we had set for dinners for 2. We just did it all one day. So it was kind of, it was tough, but we just did it all one day. And, Daniel was here. So everyone, it was a great experience. And we did the same, and we have a sister restaurant, Fat Hen, that we did dinners for, and we did the same concept there. So, I would agree. Like, it's a lot, because it's an everyday thing that you're thinking about. And it's like, some days are great and some days are bad. So it's kind of just not getting down on yourself, and just kind of just staying positive with it. And just factor in that you're going to have to spend a little bit of money to give people stuff that, makes it worth their while. Just really got to factor that cost in as well.
Thank you, guys. Those are great points. And I think, I mean, you both did food and products. I think other folks have done well with just gift cards and gift certificates too, which is obviously it's a cost and there's a cost there, but it doesn't actually have you creating any sort of separate special product. So things to keep in mind. Theresa, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is if you guys can raise your hand, I can unmute you, and then we can have this more of an interactive sort of question. If you have a question for myself, Jonathan, Lucy, or Maurice, if anybody wants to raise their hand, I can unmute and we could just ask questions live.
Kalpana has a question, I think.
Oh, I can unmute myself. Oh.
Oh.
All right, I think I'm unmuted. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for this. Kalpana. We make ready to cook kits for Indian food. I just add water and cook for 15 minutes. So this is a CPG product. So I've been listening. It seemed like I'm on the wrong call, maybe, or maybe my question can still be addressed. CPG products have a different way of, making our products in general. Like we have a co-packer and all of those things. Like we are exploring. So growing out of like a commercial kitchen, shared kitchen now. So is that something Patronicity, I hope I'm saying it right, is willing to help? That's one question. And the second question is, my general understanding of crowdfunding is you need to have like a lot of friends and family that would support you, like similar to angel funding, right? Which I don't. I'm an immigrant here, so I don't have a lot of connections. So I'll pause there.
Theresa, do you want to take the first part of that question? The eligibility?
The eligibility sheet, what are you going to use the funds for?
So I'm working to grow. Well, I'm looking to grow out of our shared kitchen. So we hire so-called co-packers where they package the product for us. So it's not a facility I own, but I pay them money to do it.
That is a good question. You can email the Biz-M-Power at matchgcc.com, the special case. So you're paying another, it's a little different in the sense that you're not purchasing equipment that would help pack. I would just have to present that as like a special case to our senior staff, our senior grant team staff.
Gotcha.
And the second part of your question about having to have friends and family to start your crowdfunding phase, I will make turn that question over to Lucy if you want to jump in, if that was a helpful sort of start for you. Or
yeah, I've actually done 2 crowdfundings. This is my second one. I did one 4 years ago. So and I do know a lot of people, but if you are able to just get the word out in some way. So if you have maybe a vendor that you end up selling your product at, so maybe a grocery store or something, and you can ask the vendor if you have permission to set up a table and just, stand there all day and hand out flyers. People are so excited about finding new projects or new or things that they want to invest in, and it literally is like $20 can get you pretty far if you have 100 people doing $20. I would say maybe set your goal up for a fairly realistic idea of how many people, but I think if you can get the word out to strangers are, in my experience, are very willing to support businesses that they feel is going to help our community. And so I would say go for it. I think if you have a way to find the money. The other thing is, did you say the money can go towards technology? That's something, maybe she can use that as developing a website or something, or no? Theresa?
No, so website, we do have a grant called Empower Digital that helps with digital needs. Becky, if you want to just drop that link for $5,000. So for the sort of technology component, like POS, like the actual equipment,
Okay.
software for the POS system. Just trying to think of purchase of sale, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, anyway, yeah.
Yep, thank you. Thank you both.
Anybody else want to raise their hand or just jump in and ask questions? Should we get into the last question here? If not, I think for both of you, so starting with Maurice in this one, what's your advice for someone who's considering applying and sort of on the fence about taking advantage of the opportunity?
Do it. Like, I mean, if you really think of it, what is the worst thing that can happen? It's like, you know,
Oh, I think we lost Maurice. That's a good point.
Yeah, and I just started here, and you will be surprised how much people actually love your business. They may not know you personally, but they may love your business. So, I mean, there's no negative to it, you know. And I also did the digital grant as well, and I was able to swap out my whole POS system. So, you know, there's no, I mean, use the resources. The resources are in front of you. Use the resources. This is, you know, no, there's no negative to it. Just jump right into it.
And Lucy, same question.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just go for it. I mean, it's really cool to be able to tell people that their money is being doubled by the state of Massachusetts. Like, take the money. I mean, all these rich people take the money. We might as well too. Like, we're the little people, and so give me that money that is available, and I don't want to let it sit, you know, and get used by somebody who doesn't need it. I also thought it was a really awesome way to market myself. So I used it as a marketing tool. So again, we did social media, but it wasn't all social media. So, you know, we were able to link in with the rest of our community. We had a newspaper article about it. And it was ultimately a free, the Chamber of Commerce. We also connected with our local Chamber of Commerce, and they did a radio spot on us. So we got a ton of traction this summer with people paying attention to our business because we had a platform to share and gave us something to talk about. So I say, definitely go for it. Get that money.
Thank you, Lucy. Does anybody else have any other questions before I close this out? Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking your time, Lucy and Maurice, and congratulations again. And yeah, just so everybody knows, this the Biz-M-Power grant program is open until June 30th, 2023. We will do monthly reviews. So the next review deadline is October 31st. You can apply directly through the MGCC website. And then obviously my contact information, I can email if you have any questions. Feel free to share with others in your industry. I know that during the pandemic, you guys have been hit pretty hard. So continue to stay strong. And yeah, so thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lucy and Maurice.
Bye.